Would you like to tell us who you are and what we're doing here?
Absolutely. My name is Steve Saracino, and I've been a teacher for 40 years. I'm not going to go into details about all the experience I've had teaching. That's in my resume, and I've sent the resume out. We're here for my lecture, so welcome to Perspectives.
What will we come away with after viewing Perspectives?
Well, I'll answer that in one word: Seinfeld. I don't know if you remember or not. You probably remember the sitcom Seinfeld. It aired from 1989 to, I think it was May of 1998. And it was called something. It was called The Show About Nothing. 22 minutes of supposedly nothing and 8 minutes of commercial. More nothing. But in actuality, the audience did get something from that series. They came away with memorable moments, some catchphrases, a sense of empathy for the characters in the show, a few laughs, and maybe even some perspectives on their own lives. Perspectives, this lecture, seemingly a lecture about nothing, is very much like Seinfeld. At first, you might think you're coming away with nothing from this, but actually, you come away with a sense of perspective about the teaching profession. You come away with an empathy for the characters of your classroom, some catchphrases, a few laughs, and one of my very lofty goals for this, you come away with some inspiration. I think it's very important that we stay inspired about this great profession. This is the greatest profession in the world, and we're losing a lot of people. We're losing a lot of young teachers because they're afraid of the layoffs, they're afraid of the budget crunches, they're worried about whether they're going to have a job or not, and a lot of them are just leaving. If we are not inspired to the point of fanaticism, how are we going to inspire our kids to be lifelong learners?
Tell us what Perspectives is and what it isn't.
Well, I figured out that over the 40 years of my teaching, I've probably been to about 85 workshops. Perspectives will probably not be like any of those workshops. No colored notebooks, no make it, take it, no brass ringed study cards, no colored pencils at the table, no Post-its, things like that. We've had those, and we'll have more. And it's good we'll have more, because without these fantastic ideas, we stagnate. So it's great that we have these workshops. But how many times have we as teachers sat at these workshop tables and talked across the table to each other and said, how are we going to infuse this in our curriculum when we barely have the time to get the kids ready for the CST? We barely have the time to cover the state content standards. Where are we going to put this great idea into our curriculum? Well, Perspectives is not exactly like that. Perspectives is going to be a lot of you, the teacher, sharing with each other. Because when we as teachers share, we really learn about what makes this profession great and what makes it work. You'll receive a numbered chip as you walk in the door, and I'll have a bowl of numbered chips up on stage. And when I draw a chip out with your number, you share with us. 2 minutes uninterrupted. What you'll get from this is a sense of, or a renewed sense of this profession we call teaching. A sense of a calling, the inspiration, clarity, hopefully some laughs, and mainly perspective.
What about tangibles? What can I take to heart and try?
Okay, inspiration and recommitment, I believe, can come from not just three, but I'm going to give you three distinct places where you can find this inspiration and recommitment. I'm going to give you an example of one book, 3 movies, and past student work and past student interaction. Now, I'd like to give you an example of a past student interaction. In 1979, I was teaching at San Diego High School, and I was coaching JV baseball. And I had a ball player on my team by the name of Manny Gallegos. Manny didn't show up for a game one day. And after the game, I found out that he had been shot in a drive-by shooting. So I went to see him in the hospital, and I was pretty harsh with him. I said, Manny, you have to give this stuff up. There's no retirement plan. You're going to wind up dead before you're 21. I'm serious. You have to give this up. If you feel like you need to get out of there, you call me. I'll go down there, pick you up, take you home. All right? But you have to stop this. His life was touch and go for a while, in the ghetto, out of the ghetto, in the hood, out of the hood. Then I had heard he moved away to New York City. Well, about 5 years after that, I got a letter with a newspaper clipping from Manny. Manny Gallegos had sent me a letter. He was driving an EMT vehicle up into the Bronx where nobody else would go. And he was picking up people who had been shot in drive-bys, in gang murders, in fights, and he was picking those people up because no one else would go up there. He had turned his life around, and he wrote the letter to thank me for helping him help other people. So I think when you really hear something like that and you take that to heart, I think that helps you understand why you're doing what you're doing, and it gives you that sense of inspiration and recommitment. Through Perspectives, I hope to inspire teachers to reach out that short distance to instill the joy in our kids to become lifelong learners.